Hi guys, and welcome back to the shop. Today we're going to be doing, I feel like I just bought this thing like not too long ago, and believe it or not, it's already time for the first 50-hour service on the Kioti NX4510. So that's exactly what we're going to be doing today. 50-hour service, Kioti NX4510. Let's get busy.
Before conducting any maintenance, you want to consult your owner's manual to figure out what you got to do and how to accomplish it. The very first page, you have major maintenance items, initial 50 hours. It goes over the engine oil filter, transmission oil filter, hydrostat filter, clutch pedal play, brake pedal play, fan belt tension, greasing, wheel bolt torque. And then daily check: transmission oil level, front axle oil level, coolant level, air cleaner element, radiator go cleaning, engine air filter, seatbelt, tire inflation, damage, park and brake condition, PTO, staff and guard condition, 3-point hitch and drawbar condition with secure pins. All right, then every 100 hours, all on down the line. So we go to our next page, table of contents. We're looking for maintenance, section 7. Maintenance, section 7. We're looking for a maintenance checklist, daily check chart, or maintenance schedule chart, 7-4. All right, 7-4. All right, now once you're on this page, you'll see all these run hour sections along with all these little circles and or dots. So to find out what those circle and dots mean, we actually need to flip over a couple pages. So this is what we want to read first. I know it kind of feels weird going all the way to the back to read the first thing that's all the way at the end, but must be done after the first 10 hours or 50 hours of operation. This is the circle with the dot. So we're looking for any of these dots or circle with a dot in the chart. Air cleaner should be cleaned more often in dusting conditions. That's self-explanatory. Every year, 6 times during cleaning, replace only if necessary. All right, and then here is all your fluids. One of the quickest ways to void your warranty is to use a fluid that does not cross-reference to what is in the chart. So make sure you're using not only the proper viscosity or weight of oil, but also the proper grades or something that could cross-reference. All right, so what we're going to be doing today on the 50-hour service, we're looking at engine oil filter. It's got the circle with the dot. We do this every 50 hours for the first one, and then 250 hours or 1 year, whichever comes first. For the transmission oil filter, again, first service, we're just replacing the oil filter. In the first service, 50 hours, and then once again, and 200 hours. Hydrostat oil filter, replacing for the first one every 50 hours, and then again, every 200 hours after that. Transmission fluid level, we check every 10 hours, which I check that every time I crank up the tractor. I don't know about you guys, but I check all my fluids every time I start. So coolant, engine oil, hydrostat, hydraulic. If those are, most of the time, the hydraulic and the hydrostat are run off the same reservoir. So just check all your fluids every time before you crank something up and damage a pump or an engine or anything of that sort. Fluid's a lot cheaper than replacing a whole entire assembly. Front axle oil level, 10 hours. This one's really important. You want to get that mineral oil. There's mineral oil in the front axle to allow the gears and hubs and everything to mesh and wear into each other. That's what they call break-in oil for the front axle. It is simply mineral oil. You'll see how clear it is once we start to drain it. You want to get that out of there after the first 10 hours. You don't want to replace it before then because those parts haven't worn into each other. So if you do replace it and provide that lubrication before the meshing has occurred, then you're going to get premature wear. And I know that seems counterintuitive, but those parts do need to wear into each other before you give them the proper lubrication. So that's why it's recommended at 10 hours. All right. Go over to the other page, air cleaner element. We check it every 10, part of the first service as well. Clutch pedal free play, that's really easy. You can look up how to do that yourself in the manual. Brake pedal free play as well. Radiator grill, clean those out every 10 hours. And then coolant level, check that every 10. And then everything else, we're just looking in the 10 or 50 column and then seeing what else we have to do. So every 10 hours, seatbelt, tire pressure, park and brake, PTO cover, 3-point hitch and drawbar, pin fastening. Engine start system, you'd know if it didn't work because your engine wouldn't start. Greasing every 50 hours. That's for the tractor itself. The loader is going to have a different greasing schedule. They require all those Zerk fittings to be greased every 10 hours. So I just grease the whole tractor every 10 hours. Wheel bolt torque. Check the torque on your wheel. You don't want your wheels falling off when you're using the tractor. And that's pretty much it. That's all we're going to be doing in this whole check. So let's get busy.
As with all my tutorials, I try to list all the ingredients, all the fluids, the filters, the part numbers, and everything that you're going to be needing. With the disclaimer that I don't know when you're going to be watching this, so please check your manual and check to see if any of these part numbers have been superseded by something else. We're going to start with draining that front end gear oil. You can see how clear it is, like we were describing earlier. This is simply mineral oil. You want to get it out within the first 10 hours, not before, and you don't want to leave it in there too long because it is simply a break-in oil. That's the first drain plug, there's the second drain plug, and there is the third. Again, there are 3 drain plugs. You want to get all 3 of them open and drain. That way you get all the mineral oil out of each hub as well as the axle assembly itself. Now that all of the mineral oil is drained from the front axle, we can start draining the engine oil. I like to drain all the fluids that I'm going to drain first and just leave the plugs out. That way I can continue to go around the rest of the tractor while those fluids drain. There are 2 oil pans. Actually, there's only 1 oil pan, but the axle to the front drive shaft runs in between the oil pans, so you have 2 drain plugs. You want to get both sides of that, again, to make sure you get all the oil. Here, we're just going to use our filter wrench. I'll have a link in the description below. You're going to need one of these heavy-duty filter wrenches. It's going to be very hard to do with a strap, or you're not going to be able to get it off with your hands. And then there's some other oil wrenches that don't really have the necessary strength to get off some of the hydraulic filters.
Now, I've seen it before in other videos where they're doing the initial service, and this oil filter adapter actually comes off with the oil filter. That is not supposed to happen, and so if that happens to you, make sure you unscrew that adapter from the filter, put it back on your adapter housing on the actual crankcase itself, and give it a little bit of snug, tight fit. That way it doesn't happen again in the future.
In Old Habits Die Hard, I like to clean off all of the mating surfaces between every filter and sealing surface. That way there's no dirt and debris or anything that can prevent that seal from sealing. Here's the new filter, associated part number. This is an OEM filter. Always lube your seals before you put them back on the engine. Just a little bit of light lubrication goes a long way, helps prevent the seal from binding, and helps create a better seal. These things just go on hand tight. You can get it on as tight as you can with one hand. You do not need to crank down on it, and you definitely don't need to put a wrench back down on it. And for those of you wondering, here's the drain plugs going back in the engine and the torque spec tightness. Now on this filter, this is a hydraulic filter. One thing you need to be very certain of is that you are in place and ready to put the new filter back on. This is at the bottom of the hydraulic tank, meaning there is no restriction as to how that hydraulic fluid comes out, and it will continue to come out until your hydraulic reservoir is empty. So again, have the new filter ready. You don't really need to lube up the seal on this one because, as you can see, the hydraulic fluid just continues to pour out until you get it completely sealed. So wrench the old one off, hand tighten the new one back on, and again, same thing with this, just hand tie it as tight as you can get it with one hand. And there's the click torque spec tightness. And then clean everything up. Everything's clean. It's a lot easier to find the leaks, so if you leave everything just dripping down there on the bottom, when you go to crank this thing up and do a leak check, you won't be able to tell whether that's old hydraulic fluid or whether that's coming from your brand new filter. So clean it up, makes for a tidy operation. And here's the hydrostat filter. Again, it's nice of them to print it on there. Change it after the first 50 hours and then 200 hours thereafter. And again, there's the part number. Now, one of these filters, I can't remember whether it was the hydrostat filter or the hydraulic filter, but one of them was freaking expensive. So that's unfortunate. If you can find a off-brand that will fit, by all means, I would maybe go that route. This hydraulic fluid does not pour out continuously, so you can take this filter off and lube up the seal before you put the new one on. Just a little dab of hydraulic fluid there. This filter is located on the side of the fuel tank, right behind the fuel tank, so basically the driver's side of the tractor, whereas the hydraulic filter is underneath the passenger side of the cab. Now just get everything a good quick wipe down, make sure there's no drips or any other hydraulic fluid leaking, and we can move on to the front axle again. So we take the fill plug out, put a little funnel in place, and start pouring this 80-90 weight. Now, the miraculous thing about buying this 80-90 weight in the gallon or 2.5 gallon container is it pours a lot easier than when it's in those little quart containers. So I know in the video it looks really thin. It is still just as thick as normal 80-90 weight is. It's just a lot easier to pour when you have an 1.5 inch opening in the mouth of the jug. Now you're going to get to see here where the funnel starts filling up and it starts pouring out the top. You might think it's full at this point in time. I assure you it is not. There's just trapped air in that front axle between that and where it needs to go. So what we'll do is we'll just wait for that to drain down a little bit. I'll go over to the hub side itself. That is where you want to make sure that the hub is full from. There is another fill plug on the hub itself. You want to pop that out and allow that air to escape. Once that air is out, you can put that fill plug back in. It just needs to be level with the top of that opening, and that's how you know each hub is full. You may have to move the tractor around from one side to the other. As you can see, we just had that that fill plug off of the right side of the tractor. The left side has one as well, so depending on how level your surface is while you're doing all this, as you can see, the fluid level is not up to that opening right there. So we'll move things around. You want to check this multiple times and make sure it is completely full on both sides before you start using your tractor regularly, especially in four-wheel drive. Without lubrication, or without the proper lubrication, you could mess up a whole lot of things, and that kind of defeats the purpose of doing your own service, right? So now we're going to move to the little extend filter here, or extend a funnel, should I say. When you don't have a funnel long enough, you find a piece of hose and you attach to the end of the funnel, and then we can begin the long, arduous process of pouring 2.5 gallons of oil into this really thin-tipped funnel. And if you're asking if it's 2.5 gallons is the actual capacity and you think you can shut the video off and go pour 2.5 gallons of oil in your engine, I do not know. Consult your owner's manual for the actual specification of how much fluid goes in. I just know I'm pouring this from a 2.5 gallon container, and it's not very fun. So expect an updated link for a better funnel in the description below that'll help you do this job a little bit easier than I had to. And as you can see, I got about halfway through the container, popped it out, checked, see if we're hitting the dipstick at all, and then continue pouring or be done with the filling process at that point in time. Now remember, you still have to crank the engine, check for leaks, make sure it fills the oil filter just like you would on a car. We're just going to get to the air filter at this point. All I did was take it with a leaf blower, stick it inside, and blow outwards with low pressure air just to get any kind of dust or anything on the outside out. You do not want to blow from the outside in. Clean everything up, and then we're going to pull off the radiator guards right here. They usually get clogged with grass, dust, dirt, and debris, especially when you're bush hogging. If you're doing a lot of bush hogging or a lot of field work with a lot of grass, these things clog up quite often. So the manual tells you to check them more periodically than you would on the 10-hour check. And you can see there's the guard, and you'll see all the trash come out as I blow compressed air. Now I do have this thing turned down. It's not the normal 120 psi shop air. It just sounds like that on the camera audio. So you see all this other stuff come off the condenser, all the hydraulic coolers and everything up front, and then you still have that little protector in between where that is and the radiator. So I just clean out all those areas, not just blow out the filters or the screens themselves. I always clean out in between and the actual elements that they're trying to filter. It does you no good to have a clean filter if the actual radiator or core of what is trying to be filtered is completely clogged up with dust and debris. Even if you have a clean filter in front of it, it serves no purpose, right? So you want to make sure whatever the filter is attempting to filter is off of the filter, and the actual element behind the filter is clean as well.
If we come around to the back of the tractor, we have all these grease zerk fittings we need to hit every 50 hours. Again, I do it the same time that I do the loader. This fitting here, we've got this one on the up of the 3-point arm. We've got one on the lower of the 3-point arm, and we also have one right here. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we'll go around to the other side, and we should have another 3 over here. We have 1, 2, 3. The book wants you to hit those every 50 hours. Once again, I hit them every 10. Almost forgot 2 more. You got one right here and one down here, and that's for the tilt adjustment on the 3-point arm. So if you're running a box blade and you want to tilt the thing, that handle right there is how you do that. If you forget to grease that, every 10 hours, not a big deal. Even every 50 hours, probably acceptable. But if you forget to grease it for about 10 years, you're going to know it the first time you try to tilt something and it doesn't tilt, and that whole shaft is C-stop. You want to grease your hub steering assembly right here, and also where the shaft comes in. So you got 1, 2, and then our final one's right here on the left side of the tractor. For the loader, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 per side. Same thing again here. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And they want you to hit those every 10 hours. Okay. One other, if you have a quick hitch, you might want to shoot some grease down in there to make hooking up your implements that much easier. Those things will get stiff from time to time. And if you're running any PTO implements, both sides of your U-joints have a zerk fitting, so you want to grease that. I would say the same as the loader, about every 10 hours of use. So there's one right here, and there's also one inside there. All right. If you wanted to clean the whole shaft, you would have to take the PTO shaft out of the sleeve, and then you can run grease down the whole shaft and re-grease it. And again, about every 15 to 20 hours on the shaft. I grease the U-joints about every 10. You should also have, if you're running like a bush hog, you'll have this little swivel wheel. You have a grease zerk fitting there. You want to make sure, oh, it says right there, every 10 hours.
All right, guys. Well, that wraps up the 50-hour service of the Kioti NX4510. I hope that was helpful. I hope it was informative. If you have any questions that didn't get answered in this video, drop them in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.